Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a spiritual enlightenment channel where we help you raise your consciousness and become your best version. Today we have a returning guest, Dr. Joyce Piert. Today we're going to be talking about allowing freedom in romantic relationships. Dr. Piert, thank you for joining me once again. How are you?
I'm amazing, Katina. Thank you for inviting me back. That's a big thing because some of your guests might not be invited back. So I'm so excited that I've been back. Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes. So we had a great time talking about the last time we kind of touched on relationships and we went into unconditional love, having unconditional love. But today we want to talk and focus more on allowing freedom in romantic partnerships, romantic relationships. So I'm excited. Relationships is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. So, yes, let's get started. So I wanted to find out, what is your take on how do we even begin to think about allowing freedom in relationships?
Mm, I think one of the first things we have to do is define freedom. Again, these are terms that we use and they mean something different for everyone. Number
Hmm.
one, you always it's free. Fundamentally, if
Right,
freedom is non-constraint, then you're always free. But freedom in
right.
relationships, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Is that non-constraint in relationships? Um, Most of us have these guidelines that we have for relationships, and we expect people to operate. It's almost like the game we play. Like we expect people to operate within the rules of the game.
Right,
And so we don't call it that, but we sure do act like that, right? And so
right.
it's if I'm gonna be with you,
Hmm.
then okay, first of all, so that I can lock you in, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do first. So if I'm gonna be with,
Right.
because once I do this, like you're gonna be obligated, like you really want to be with, you're gonna be obligated
Right,
to reciprocate, right? So if I'm gonna
right,
be with you, it's just gonna be you. And I'm not going to love anybody else like I love you. I'm not gonna have sex with anybody else like I have sex with you. I'm not gonna play with anybody else like I play with you.
right,
Okay.
right,
Okay,
right.
now, what you
Forsaking all others, as they say with those traditional marriage vows,
yes,
right?
we always go to the Bible. This is a Christian country, so we always go to the Bible. But the
Hmm.
Bible can constrain you,
Right,
and
right. And
and the
limit
reader,
you,
right? No, go ahead.
limit you and put you in bondage.
Right, and read
People.
right, what freedom is for you, because in the Bible it talks about slaves and masters. So freedom got a whole different definition in the Bible. So how do we? In this freedom is, I guess, a personal thing too, right? It's
Yeah, I
like
think it is. Yeah.
okay, so if you are a person who ascribes to the Bible, then certainly freedom is going to be defined by the tenets of the Bible. But if you are a person who does not is not using that as your definition of freedom, then it becomes internal. So it becomes internal. So the question is, in order for you to be in a relationship and offer freedom to someone else, you have to understand what is freedom for you.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
And so if freedom for you is wanting to be able to engage with other people, and I'm not necessarily saying sexual, I'm just
Right, right,
friendships. I want to travel, and this person I like traveling with happens to be of the opposite sex, but that's my friend, right? And
right,
so
right. So it's
so
like, are you going to be cool with that? Like sharing that,
right, do I
talking to
have
your partner,
right,
having that conversation.
right? And so and there are many relationships that already operate in that way. So if I have a best friend and they're of the opposite sex, then I want my friend to be your friend. And so
Right.
can we have a relationship where
Can get
we
along.
friend, right? And nobody's threatened, and nobody feels that
Right.
somebody is threatening their place or their position, which I don't understand what that is either. But because we tend to think that we hold these places or spaces when we're in these relations, and not only do we hold them, but they don't move or shift, right? Like, so once I
Yes.
claim this space, is my space, right? And
Like
so,
that's mine. I've heard guys refer to that, in relationships. I don't know if it was like a movie I watched or just like a I don't want to judge, but like thug type guys, even there's like, hey man, that's mine, or like rap music I've listened to, like, oh, that's mine, like you can't touch that, kind of like that, like
mhm,
like that's my territory or something.
yes, okay. And so that sounds sort of like animals, right? Like
Yes, it does.
once you pee
It
on the
does.
once you pee on the tree, right? Everybody coming over sniffing, no, that's your tree, right? And it's like, hmm.
That's a little
So,
different, huh?
well, it sounds to say, right? If that's my person. And again,
Yes,
that's we talked about this the last meeting. Like, how do you hold a person as property? That's called slavery.
it is. It is.
If we were, if we see slavery as immoral, then we should see our holding another being as our personal property as immoral. So how do we justify it for ourselves, but we don't want anybody to hold us as property?
That's so true. That's so true. I was looking on YouTube, and I kind of listened to a little bit of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett's relationship over the years, how they've evolved and made their relationship work over the years. And I just found out actually that Jada and Tupac, the rapper Tupac, they were the best friends
Mm,
when Jada met Will.
mm,
And she was just saying how he was like a brother to her. They had like this real platonic relationship. They were like sister and brother.
mm.
And Will Smith found that a little challenging, not a little challenging, but a lot challenging when they first got together.
Right,
And he was just telling his story, his side of that. And he was like, first it was like a nightmare, and then he had to get used to and accept it over time because he chose to be with that woman. So they made it work. So it's like it's not impossible, but like, like we were saying in the other video that we did, we were saying, you just have to talk about things up front and just lay
right,
all your cards out and say, hey, this is this. This is me. Can you accept all of me and all of this?
right. And I
Mhm.
think that takes a level of maturity.
It does.
Um, I, I don't know how to talk about Jaden and Will's relationship after last night. So I kind of trying to on
Now
the
you
oscillation.
said last night. Now I did see something, but I don't even know what happened. I just seen somebody sent me some pictures.
Okay.
I don't even know what happened.
And
So
I'm
we
not
don't even
going
have
to,
to go there. We
I
can
don't
leave
want to
that
go into
out.
that, right?
We can leave that
But
out there.
right. And
But
many people have different perspectives of Jada and Will's relationship. I appreciate their openness.
yeah,
They made their relationship very public. And when you make a relationship public, then public people think that they have a right, or um, that they can speak to it. Even
right,
though they're not in it, they're standing on the outside as observers, having
right,
conversation about
right.
what they think the relationship should be. I do think that relationships that allow you to be free, to be the best that you can be, to allow you to move around, and where you with someone that does not offer constraint to your growth, those are relationships of maturity.
Yeah.
And it takes people who are dealing with themselves, because if I'm not immature, but if I'm insecure,
Yeah.
then I'm bringing that insecurity to the relationship. Now, my growth is to begin to look and see, well, oh, he's gone. Okay, say me in a relationship. He's gone, and
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. He's with the boys. They at the bar. Oh my God. Wonder
Right.
who he's okay. Now it's 11. He ain't
Right.
called. He's still right. And so
Right.
so then
Right.
my question begins, like, why is that an issue for you? Like, where does that come from? And for most of
Trust
us,
issues. Trust issues. I would speak for myself. Trust issues.
it has to do with, somebody maybe has, I found out somebody was having a relationship with somebody else when they were with me before, or
Yeah.
my daddy. I never did have a good relationship with my daddy, and he would leave and not come back, like,
Yeah. It
it's
can come from
all,
childhood, most definitely.
but it's insecurity,
It
right?
is
And
insecurity. It is.
that's the number one thing for me, is that we have to identify and speak to our own pains and our own traumas that we're bringing, because we don't leave them in the house. When I show up for you,
Right.
all my little imps are with me. There's that insecurity. There's that, like they greet you too. They're like, hey, what's up? You, that's good to meet you, right? They're right there, right?
Right.
And you may not have thought in your mind that you was calling forth all of that. You like, I like you, but you know that insecurity. You leave that one at home. And
Right.
that one is
Right.
saying, oh
Right.
no, I'm right here. Whatever she's doing, I'm doing, right? I'm in the
Yeah.
house, right?
Like I'm here. I'm gonna let you know
Right?
I'm here.
Right? And that's, we don't take that into account, that people come and they're more than what you see physical. Their
Yes.
experiences,
Yes.
like they're a
Yes.
combination of experiences, and all of that will show up at some time or another. And please don't trigger it. Even trauma, you trigger
Right.
somebody, and and so, do you have the compassion and the empathy to be
Hmm.
able to deal with people where they are?
That's
And
key right there. Compassion and empathy
yes, right, and grace.
and
Because
grace.
we all need grace. I know I do, because I'm going to have those moments where I'm going to do some irrational stuff. Like, I ain't always Jesus, I'm going to put
Right,
it,
right, right. I'm not an angel. I have to tell people
right.
I am not an angel. Don't even
And I'm
think
going
I
to,
am.
yes, and I'm
I'm
going
a
to have my
sweetheart,
moment.
but
Hmm.
I'm not an angel.
Right. And that's going to show up. And so, do you have the space to allow me grace
Mm,
and to hold me in support? And if we're in a love relationship, point that out.
mhm.
Because if we're in a love relationship, it should be built on trust.
It
And my
should.
trust is that you will always seek my highest well-being. So therefore, when you identify something that is creating a problem or a challenge for you, then I should be able to look at that. Now, if that's just part of me, and I'm like, wait, this is, then that's one thing. But if it's undergirded in some pain, right? Then I
Right,
need to be
right.
able to look at that. Because if I love you, I don't want to bring pain to you.
That is so true. It
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Makes a lot of sense. Most definitely. Well, we're going to conclude here. We just want to get on and talk about that. This is part one. We're going to go ahead and do a part two next. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in to the Awakening with Katina Love. And
Thank you, Katina.
thank
Mhm.
you, Dr. Piert, for being a guest. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.